Late last summer, we bought our first boat. It's a 1953 wooden Runabout, and it's a beautiful boat, but it has a few issues. One of those issues is this rub rail up at the bow that's kind of pulling away from the decking. And so this video is me working to fix that. You can see how this is pulling away. I've actually removed a couple screws, so it's a little worse than it started out, or it looks worse than it started out. But there is some rot in this deck the planking behind it. It's actually where the windshield mounts, and some water got in there and created some rot. Plus, the previous owner drove a couple screws from the top of the deck to try and pull that rub rail up tight, and that didn't work for long. Those screws rusted. Now, the other screws, the originals, kind of I'm pointing to the holes now, they're brass and they're in good shape, but just not all of them were holding in that rotted wood, so it's pulling away. Anyway, I've got to get all these screws out, and I'm going to use this tool to kind of dig the fairing compound out of there. It reminds me of Bondo. I have no boating experience. I'm just kind of sharing what I'm learning here as I go. But I do have some automotive restoration experience, restored a few trucks over the years. Anyway, this stuff we're digging out reminds me of Bondo. But this tool lets you get that out and clean out the slot of the screw pretty easily. It started life as a drift that I just ground down to a sharp point on a bench grinder. And this is not my idea that I came up with. I actually have learned an awful lot from the YouTube series Tips from a Shipwright. And that's done by Total Boat, and Lou on there. He's just a terrific craftsman, and has such great ideas for working on wooden ships. I mean, that's what he does. Anyway, this tool was something he suggested. The other thing he suggested is that when you do the first turn on the screw with the actual screwdriver, you sweep the edge of the hole with the screwdriver. So you kind of place the screwdriver towards the outer edge of the screw slot, and then as you turn, you're kind of using the edge of the screwdriver to remove any extra compound or what have you that might be in the hole. And this helps so that when the screw comes out, it doesn't splinter the wood by catching on something on its way out. So I'm doing that here, but it ends up being a little bit unnecessary in that this screw doesn't want to come out. And unfortunately, there were several like this along the way. You do have that rotted section of the deck where that's not surprising, but then the wood behind this one's actually fine. It's just dried out. And so over the years, the screw just doesn't fit as well. So we're going to pull this rub rail away, and we're going to use a 2-part epoxy to kind of fill in these screw holes. We'll re-drill them, and then everything should fit a lot tighter. We'll also use that epoxy to repair those the decking that's in kind of rough shape. It's not that bad once we got the rail away and I could look at it. A better carpenter might actually replace those planks, but I'm not really a carpenter at all. So I'm going to use the 2-part epoxy to do a repair, and we'll look at that in a different video. But this one's just kind of how to get a screw out and then pulling that rail away. And I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you again soon.